Hi YouTube. Today is March 3rd. One second. Excuse me, sir. Let's try to get out. So today I met with my caseworker, and the employment support guy. So how did that happen? And my caseworker is like the caseworker that's like hands off, or was hands off, I should say. I went in to use the computer lab, and today my worker called and the employment services. So my worker is Joseph, and the employment services guy is David. So they both called me, and I called David back, and we scheduled for 2 at the computer lab where I have been going to charge my stuff and to apply for jobs. And that is the same office where Joseph is at. So I couldn't apply for jobs from the computer today because their internet was out. So I just sat there and waited for my employment support guy, for David, to come. And while I was waiting, they called Joseph for me to let him know that I'm there. And he came over and we met. So I'm still on the list for housing. Excuse me. He gave me a 1-day bus pass. He was going to get me more, but he didn't come back, so that's okay though. Trying to think if we talked about anything else. He gave me some ideas for like how the guy Joseph could help me. So I wrote those down. I made notes about everything. And I don't even remember what we talked about. Oh, he did tell me about another center that I can go to. It's called the Wellness Center, where I can go and charge stuff. And they have like groups for all different kinds of things that meet up. And it's at the building where Joseph's at. So I wrote that down. And then, sorry, David. So then David came in and we met. And there was a lot of information that I got from that. So like he was teaching me how AI works for like choosing resumes, and we were talking about that. He showed me like ChatGPT, how to use that. I haven't used it yet. I've hardly heard about it. And so then we went over like my resume, like my experience, and we just talked a lot. And so that he also has a group Wednesdays, I'm not gonna say what time, but and so I'm gonna probably pop in there and see if there's any information. Now, normally, I feel like I'm a pretty experienced interviewer, applicant, and stuff like that, but I've learned that there's always something else you can learn. So the reason why I know this is because when I was on welfare back in 2000, I don't know what year, 2013, 12, 2013, I think, 13, when I came back to California. So I had to take an employment class through welfare since I applied for cash aid. And the teacher, Mr. Valadez, I'll never forget his name. He was amazing, amazing. That class was so good, and I was shocked because it was a county class. It was a required county class. Now, normally people I feel like they don't care. Not that they don't take their jobs seriously, but this man lived, breathed, ate his job. It was his job. The main focus was, he said, you have to find your reason for being there, for working. And obviously we were all there because we had children, so our main focus should be our children. That should be our motivating factor. So he always brought in the whole course, your motivating factor, your motivating factor. And things like filling out a resume, I thought you just fill it out and turn it in. Well, I also have chicken scratch sometimes. No, you write neatly. That's why you get a few copies, not just because if you make a mistake, but so you can write neatly. You have to line it up. There's certain rules or things you should follow for filling out a resume. They never taught me that in school, and nobody taught me that. So I thought that was really cool. We practiced our answers for the questions that they would ask us. Interviewers would ask us, and I'm usually good about coming up on the spot with answers, but I felt a lot better rehearsing what I was going to say. And then, you know, when you're in the moment, you just kind of improvise. So that was helpful. There was some other, he helped me with my resume too. I mean, it was just a good environment, and everyone was like hyped up because his energy is really nice. So, I really liked that class. And then I even have referred like 3 or 4 people to him since then, because, he was such a good class. So like, if I know there's someone who's really driven, they're young, they're just out of high school, I'll go ahead and refer them to him. What else? So yeah, there's that. Oh, and then at 3 o'clock I had my appointment with my doctor, and that doctor is so funny because he's Christian, and I don't know if he's supposed to do this, but I mean, I like that he says there's 3 parts to health. There's your mental health, your spiritual health, and your physical health. And so we always talk about what I'm doing for each one. And at the end of every session, he talks to me, because he's Christian, so he talks to me about like Jesus, and like believing that, you know, he died for our sins. And today he told me a little story about the 1950s. This man who was in the service, and I'm not even going to go into the whole story. I'll tell that another time. But so he told me this nice story that like coincides with like his religion, and I'm not against it. I'm just not as deep, you know, like that. So I'm going to miss him. He's leaving. He didn't tell me he was leaving, but he's like, oh, I'll see you in 2 months. And I'm like, okay. But no, he's leaving. He's going to a different agency where I actually was. And I switched over to this one, but I don't want to have to change my worker, and I really like my nurse, and I'm getting to know everybody, so I don't want to like switch. So, I'll miss him, Dr. B, and, I'm going to meet up with the employment services guy, David, again, and he's going to sit with me while I apply and see if there's anything he can help me with, like, tailoring my resume. In the meantime, he's also going to condense my resume down into 1 page. And in the meantime, I'm gonna work with. I'm honestly gonna like sit there and like practice with GPT, and see if I can update my resume on my own for a few different jobs, like serving, hotel, administrative assistant, and then the food safety and quality compliance. I think that's it. That's everything. I'm almost out of gas. I'm trying to talk low because there's a lot of people around. I can't really drive anywhere. I'm stuck here for a few days, actually. But everything else is fine. Having a good day. I'm scared because I don't have a job yet, but, you know, that's every day. Alright, I hope everybody's doing good.